First meeting, which took place in Madrid, Spain in January 2017, was with Georgy Oganov. Oganov, who had previously worked at the Russian embassy in the United States, was a senior executive for Deripaska Company and was believed to report directly to Deripaska. Manafort initially denied attending the meeting. When he later acknowledged it, he claimed that the meeting had been arranged by his lawyers and concerned only the Pericles lawsuit. Other evidence, however, provides reason to doubt Manafort's statement that the sole topic of the meeting was the Pericles lawsuit. In particular, text messages to Manafort from a number associated with Kilimnik suggested Kilimnik and Boyarkin, not Manafort's counsel, had arranged the meeting between Manafort and Oganov. Kilimnik's message states that the meeting was supposed to be not about money or Pericles, but instead about recreating the old friendship, ostensibly between Manafort and Deripaska. In talking about global politics, Manafort was also replied by text that he needs this finished before January 20th, unquote, which appears to be a reference to resolving Pericles before the inauguration. On January 15th, 2017, 3 days after his return from Madrid, Manafort emailed KT McFarland, who was at the time designated to be Deputy National Security Advisor and was formally appointed to that position on January 20th, 2017. Manafort January 15th email to McFarland stated, "I have some important information I want to share that I picked up on my travels over the last month," end quote. Manafort told the office that the email referred to an issue regarding Cuba, not Russia or Ukraine, and Manafort had traveled to Cuba in the past month. Either way, McFarland, who was advised by Flynn not to respond to the Manafort inquiry, appears not to have responded to Manafort. Manafort told the office that around the time of the presidential inauguration in January, he met with Kilimnik and Ukrainian oligarch Sergei Lyovanchkin at the Westin Hotel in Alexandria, Virginia. During this meeting, Kilimnik again discussed the Yanukovych peace plan that he had broached at the August 2nd meeting, and a detailed December 8th, 2016 message found in Kilimnik's DMP email account. In that December 8th email, which Manafort acknowledged having read, Kilimnik wrote, quote, "All that is required to start the process is a very minor wink or slight push from DT," end quote. An apparent reference to President-elect Trump, quote, "and a decision to authorize you to be a special representative and manage this process." Kilimnik assured Manafort with the authority he, quote, "could start the process and within 10 days visit Russia. Yanukovych guarantees your reception at the very top level," and that, quote, "DT could have peace in Ukraine basically within a few months after inauguration," end quote. As noted above, redacted, and statements to the office, Manafort sought to qualify his engagement on and support for the plan. Redacted, footnote, 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 end redaction. On February 26, 2017, Manafort met Kilimnik in Madrid, where Kilimnik had flown from Moscow. In his first two interviews with the office, Manafort denied meeting with Kilimnik on his Madrid trip, and then, after being confronted with documentary evidence that Kilimnik was in Madrid at the same time as himself, recognized he met him in Madrid. Manafort said that Kilimnik had updated him on a criminal investigation into so-called black ledger payments to Manafort that was being conducted by Ukraine's National Anti-Corruption Bureau. Redacted. Manafort remained in contact with Kilimnik throughout 2017 into the spring of 2018. Those contacts included matters pertaining to the criminal charges brought by the office in the Ukraine peace plan. In early 2018, Manafort retained his longtime polling firm to craft a draft poll in Ukraine, sent the pollster a 3-page primer on the plan sent by Kilminnick, and worked with Kilminnick to formulate the polling questions. The primer sent to the pollsters specifically called for the United States and President Trump to support Autonomous Republic of Donbass, with Yanukovych's role in resolving the conflict in Donbass. The poll was not solely about Donbass. It also sought participants' views on leaders apart from Yanukovych as they pertain to the 2019 Ukraine presidential election. The office has not uncovered evidence that Manafort brought the Ukraine peace plan to the attention of the Trump campaign or the Trump administration. Kilminnick continued his efforts to promote the peace plan to the executive branch, e.g., the U.S. Department of State, into the summer of 2018. Part B, post-election and transition period contacts. Trump was elected president on November 8, 2016. Beginning immediately after the election, individuals connected to the Russian government started contacting officials in the Trump campaign and transition team through multiple channels, sometimes through Russian Ambassador Kislyak, and other times through individuals who sought reliable contacts through U.S. persons not formally tied to the campaign or transition team. The most senior levels of the Russian government encouraged these efforts. The investigation did not establish that these efforts reflected or constituted coordination between the Trump campaign and Russia in its election interference activities. Part 1, immediate, most post-election activity. As soon as news broke that Trump had been elected president, Russian government officials and prominent Russian businessmen began trying to make inroads into the new administration. They appeared not to have pre-existing contacts and struggled to connect with senior officials around the president-elect. As explained, those efforts entailed both official contact through the Russian embassy in the United States and outreaches sanctioned at high levels of the Russian government through business rather than political contacts.